All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for taking a little time out of your registration night with your student to be here to learn a little bit more about some of the offerings that we have at the high school that will specifically prepare your student for whatever plan they have for after high school, whether it's a 2-year college, a 4-year college, jumping right into pursuing a career. Appreciate you sticking around a little bit longer after your discussions, or maybe right before your discussions with your Ranger Connect teacher and your Dean of Students about what your schedule will look like for next year. Curious about who we have in attendance here. How many of you will be a freshman next year at the high school? Next year will be your 9th grade year, okay? How about 10th grade? You'll be a 10th grader next year. Couple? 11th grade? All right, so we've got a range of future 9th, 10th, and 11th graders that we'll be talking through some of this important information with tonight. We're also grateful to be joined by some of our current students who will be telling you about some of their experiences in these classes. My name is Mr. Cabot, and I'm an assistant principal here at the high school. I work with students whose last names start with A through L, alongside my fellow assistant principal, Ms. Stratton, who has M through Z. She's running the show for registration tonight. And part of my responsibility here is our AP program and all of our college testing, like the ACT and the PSAT. So I work really closely with those teachers as well as those organizations to make sure that we're running things the way that we're supposed to here so that your students can get the benefits that they're supposed to. Ranger U is the sort of unique term that we've come up with to talk about any course in the high school that allows you to earn college credit. And so we've got really 3 different areas of potential ways to earn college credit. We have our AP courses, our advanced placement courses that are facilitated through the College Board. And then we have our concurrent enrollment courses called dual credit courses, where the course is taught here at the high school by a high school teacher, but they've been approved by a college to teach that course and give your student a grade both for their high school transcript and for a college transcript. So one version of those would be our CIS courses, College in the Schools, almost exclusively taught through the University of Minnesota. The University of Minnesota has approved our instructor to teach that course. They get a grade on their high school transcript, and then a University of Minnesota course transcript is generated as well. And then we have some other local 2-year colleges that we also partner with in those same type of concurrent enrollment classes. So that's the broad overview of what we mean by that term, Ranger U. I'm happy to be joined by Ms. Bonnet, and she's going to introduce herself now.
Thank you for being here, everybody. My name is Molly Bonnet, and I'm the Career and College Coordinator here at the high school. And I have the privilege of planning events for students and working with them individually and helping with registration and some other things. So I have a lot of passion around helping students utilize and leverage their opportunities here at the high school to help them meet their goals after high school. This is me, right?
It is.
So some of the benefits of Ranger U, often students think, ooh, college class, the number one thing that comes to mind is the opportunity for free college credit, which absolutely is and can be a wonderful opportunity for students, but I would make the argument that maybe even more so than the chance to earn college credit is the ability to take a rigorous class that students know is helping them prepare for the rigor of college. So there's something that is almost immeasurable about the ability to start college feeling secure in your ability to tackle this level of coursework, and that really is established through their time taking these types of classes. We also know that students that take Ranger U or more rigorous classes are going to be more likely to graduate on time from their college experience with a higher GPA, and that just reflects again because they're prepared for that level of class once they get to college. And then of course, the opportunity to earn free college credit. So how you go about earning that credit depends upon the type of class that it is. Our Ranger U classes kind of sit in 2 buckets. AP, which stands for Advanced Placement Classes, and then Concurrent Enrollment Classes. And our AP classes, you earn the credit once you take a test at the end of a specific course, and then, these are the requirements to take the class, excuse me. So the AP requirements to take the class are typically either a grade or an interest in the class, or sometimes it can be a prereq, like you can't take AP Calc 1 unless you've taken pre-calc. And then for our concurrent classes, these really vary widely, and they can be based on your rank in the class that you are and the year that you are. So typically, the ranking decreases if you are a senior versus a junior. Although I think Mr. Cavett would confirm that our number one goal here is to really give students the opportunity to take these classes. So if a student has a really strong interest in nursing, for example, and they want to take our certified nursing assistant class, but they're not in that class rank that's listed, usually the deans, APs, everybody is willing to work with that student to make sure that they have the opportunity to take that class, because we know that that's a really important opportunity in their career journey.
So some things to understand about a Ranger U course that makes it unique from our regular classes. Maybe the thing that stands out the most is that Ranger U grades are weighted grades. So rather than being graded on the typical 4.0 scale, you're being graded on a 5.0 scale. So an A rather than a 4.0 grade value actually has a 5.0, and you can see on the chart how it flows from there. That's good news, because there's no question that the coursework in an advanced placement course or a concurrent enrollment course is much more challenging and much more rigorous than in the typical grade level course. Now, our teachers understand that, especially for those of you that will be in 9th grade next year, but even in 10th grade, often you're taking your very first AP course or your very first college level course. And so they've built that into their instructional design and how they communicate with students and families. So it's high expectations, but it's paired with high support. Often what we experience, though, especially in a 9th grade class like AP Physics or AP Human Geography, or maybe in 11th or 12th grade when you're taking an EMT or EMR course that Ms. Bonnet was just describing, when it's the first time at that level of rigor, there's some challenges, as opposed to maybe what the typical experience has been for your student up to that point. And often within the first 2 or 3 weeks, there's a feeling of, I don't know that I can do this. I'm not used to struggling in this way. And we always encourage students to stay connected to your teacher and push through it. And even if what was usually an A ends up being a B, or what was usually a B plus ends up being a C plus, you are benefiting from this weighted grade. So are the expectations higher? Yes, but we've also aligned our GPA to match that, to better reflect the actual achievement that your student is experiencing in that course. So how do you actually earn the college credit in these two different types of Ranger U courses that we offer? In an AP course, the whole curriculum is building towards an exam in May, and it's a national standardized exam. So everyone who takes AP Human Geography or AP English Language all around the world is taking the same test at the same time. And your teacher gives you that date early in the school year. Starting on day 1, you have the opportunity to go into your AP College Board account that you'll create and sign up for the test. That also gives you access to a lot of online study materials, some of which your teacher will utilize, some of which you'll just use on your own. And you spend the year preparing to test on that one particular day. It's a 5-point scale that AP exams are graded on. And for most colleges, if you earn a 3, a 4, or a 5, they'll then award you a freshman level credit for whatever the subject area was for that particular class. Those of you that are already looking at specific colleges, as you go through their admissions pages, you will see where they explicitly lay out for each AP class what scores they accept, what classes you can get credit for. Now, in our concurrent enrollment courses, whether they're CIS or some of our other offerings, you're enrolled in the course through that college, so you're technically a student there for at least that one course. And you need to earn a C or higher in order to earn both the high school credit and then the college credit on that college transcript. It's also recommended that you keep examples of the syllabus and work that you did in that course. And then in order to transfer that credit onto whatever college you attend after high school, you do need to work through the college to request an official transcript, not just how it's reflected on your high school transcript here. A lot of moving pieces to the whole idea of transferring credit, so I'm going to ask Ms. Bonnet to speak to the last bullet point there, transferology.com.
Yeah, transferology is basically the one tool that we have to help you better understand transferability. It's a tool that's used widely by all of the colleges and high schools. And basically what one would do to use the tool is say, I am taking CIS literature, which would be a University of Minnesota literature class, and maybe I'm interested in how likely that class is going to transfer to Madison. So I put in the school to which I want it to transfer, and it will give me a % chance that it will transfer. Now, I always look to my senior in the room. Hugh, how user-friendly is transferology?
It could use some work.
It could use some work. It's not the most user-friendly website, but unfortunately is the only one that we do have. So I would just recommend kind of reiterating Mr. Cavitt's point about credit transfer and keeping your course syllabus. If you come into a situation where the college you want the credit to transfer to, and they are saying, no, we do not want this to count for this requirement, typically the credit's going to transfer. The question comes into whether it will be elective credit or if it will fulfill a graduation requirement. There are people that can help you advocate, and that syllabus and those examples from your course are part of that advocacy process. So if you are told no, I highly encourage you to advocate, to stand up for yourself on why that credit should count for their humanities requirement or whatever the case may be.
So what's a way to think about decision making for whether or not to sign up for a Ranger U course? Ultimately, it comes down to you and your student working together to make that decision. We do have a framework for this that we want to recommend to you, and it's finding that balance of challenge and joy. The better you know yourself, the more successful you're going to be in choosing courses each year. The more that you've thought about what you want to do after high school, the more you're going to be able to hone in on the specific subject areas or on our career pathway guide and narrow down your choices for where you would want to take a Ranger U course. The better you know what you like and don't like and what your strengths are and what your areas of growth are, the better you'll be able to identify these courses. Your parents aren't going to be able to do that for you. That's going to be coming from your self-reflection and your understanding of yourself. So we talk about this balance of joy and challenge. When I was in high school, I knew that I wanted to do some sort of career with words. I wanted to maybe be an English teacher, possibly be a journalist. I love to read and write. And so taking advanced English courses in high school was a joy for me because I already loved doing that and I was getting the most rigorous possible experience with the strongest teachers at my high school. Math was a struggle for me. And so even though I knew I wanted to go to college, if I had signed up for advanced courses in math, I don't know that I would have had the tools and capacity to take that on. Grade level math was enough of a challenge for me each year. And then I loved to play sports and I loved to compete and be active. And even though I knew that I wasn't going to be a professional athlete or a PE teacher or anything like that, I needed that as part of my day. So I signed up for physical education courses that brought me joy because of my experiences there. And hopefully each student in here can think of your version of that. What is going to be challenging? What's going to bring joy? And then where do those two things intersect in an area of interest for you? We have our example of that with this Venn diagram up here. So that's the framework that we recommend when it comes to making decisions about course requests for Ranger U courses.
In addition to Ranger U courses, we also offer quite a few certification opportunities. This is somewhat new to our building. We've always offered a few, but now we're up to 14 different certifications as of this year. And there are instances where a class is both a Ranger U, a college credit class or a weighted course, and an opportunity to earn a certification. So you can see all of the different options that we now have. They're representing a variety of different career fields. We have really robust offerings in health science. We're one of few high schools where you could earn a CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant Certificate, EMR or EMT or EMT certificate. We also, new this year, have the Microsoft Office Specialist certifications in Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So we're always explaining to students that we are a Google school. We all are very accustomed to Google in our building, but the rest of the world, the outside world, the business world, they most commonly will use Word, and that having a certification is something that you can, it's an industry recognized credential. So you're putting it on your resume to signal to a company or to an employer that you have the skills to work in that area. I just mentioned those transferable skills. We also know that students that are earning these certifications tend to be happier with their high school experience. We have a lot of overlap between our hands-on courses, our real-world experience type courses, and our certifications. So it's very common to find our CNA and EMT students out in the hallways with the gurneys out and with their stethoscopes on, and they are in situations that they have been given, and they're figuring out how to treat the person in that situation. So these are very real-world skill development classes. You can go to our website to find out what all of the certification opportunities are. And then in our career pathways guide, they're all indicated with a green C, much like our Ranger U classes are all noted with a maroon U. So I also want to note that some of our certifications require a series of courses. So one that is new to us is the Vet Assistant certification, which requires a few different classes in addition to some hours or an internship at a vet clinic, which we can place students in through our career launch classes. So I always say this is the best part. We kind of give our information, but it's far more interesting to hear from the students themselves. So if you don't mind coming on up, we have 3 fantastic students who are joining us for the second time. And if Hugh, you want to start by introducing yourself, maybe share your name, your grade, and your favorite class so far that you've taken at the high school.
Sure. Hi, my name is Hugh Drinkwitz. I'm a senior, 12th grade as the screen says, and my favorite class that I've taken is either EMR or EMT.
I'm Megan Jenin. I'm a junior, and my favorite class is Symphonic Winds.
I'm Brooke Behrens. I'm a junior, and my favorite class is probably AP Language.
Thank you for being here tonight. And we're missing Mitchell, but these 3 will do a phenomenal job. So, if we could start with you, Brooke, what AP classes have you taken and how did you choose those classes?
Okay, so I've taken 5 of the business CIS classes in the past. I've also taken AP Language, which I'm in right now, as well as AP Psychology, and next year I'll be taking AP Computer Science.
I took AP Physics, AP Chem, and I'm currently in AP Lang and Comp. Is that all we're saying?
And how you chose the classes you
chose
took?
them. All right. Well, AP Physics is the first one I took. That was in 9th grade, and I kind of chose that because it was the only AP class that was available besides AP Geography, but I had 0 interest in that. So I took that, and I think that opened up a doorway because then I took AP Chem because I enjoyed how challenging it was, and it wasn't just a normal class.
Let's see, I've taken AP Physics, AP Chemistry, AP Biology, AP Calculus, AP English Language and Composition and AP Statistics. I chose the first couple of classes, you know, in my freshman and sophomore year, mostly because they were the only AP classes available at that time. But when I took AP Chemistry, I really found a love for science and chemistry and sort of got into the area of biochemistry and life sciences and decided that I wanted to be a doctor when I grew up. So then I took, you know, AP Biology, and now this isn't an AP class, but I also took EMR and EMT.
Hugh, what do you think have been some of the benefits of taking those classes?
Well, college credit is a definite plus, but it was also challenging and a lot of fun. There was a lot of support from students, from teachers, from basically the entire system. So it was a very supportive, challenging, and fun environment.
Megan or Brooke, anything to add about the benefits you felt you gained?
I think one of the best benefits of AP classes is the fact that you're in an environment that has a bunch of other people who are also there because they want to be there. And I feel like the community is just very supportive. And if you're struggling, there's going to be friends, and the teachers are all very helpful.
It's okay if you don't. Do you have anything to add, Brooke? No. We're going to go on. You kind of started out, but I'm going to have you come back to this. What concurrent enrollment classes have you taken? So these would be different than your CIS and your business. And so if you want to explain those business courses in a little bit more detail, that would be great.
All right, so I've taken 5 of the CIS business classes, and they're all through Pine Tech, so that's where all the credit is going right now. That's where you can also get your IC3 certification as well as Microsoft Office, which I've earned one of those, unfortunately. But you also get a Business Essentials credential along with that if you take AP Language with those. And it also is, I believe, a freshman level college certification in business. So I think the CIS classes, honestly, I found a little bit easier. They're a little bit more hands-on than AP, but that's what I've gotten out of them.
Yeah, and just a point of clarification, because this is confusing. CIS is trademarked by the University of Minnesota, so anytime you see a course listed as CIS, it stands for College in the Schools, and that indicates that it is a University of Minnesota transcripted class. So CIS courses are concurrent enrollment classes, but those Pine classes that she was referring to
yes,
are not CIS classes, but they are
Got it.
concurrent enrollment classes. So just to clarify. Yeah, Hugh, I know you've taken some concurrent enrollment classes as well.
Yeah, I've taken EMR, Emergency Medical Responder, Spanish 5, and EMT, Emergency Medical Technician.
And how did you come to choose those classes?
Well, I want to be able to continue speaking Spanish, so that's why I took Spanish, and I took EMR and EMT because I'm interested in becoming a doctor one day, and having those certifications is really nice. You get to help people. It's good going into college to have that baseline knowledge. And also going into college, EMT can make upwards of $20 an hour, which is really nice. Going right into college, knowing I have a secure, flexible job that's in the field I want to go into.
Yeah, what's really great about those certifications for our students that are interested in health science is gaining experience in healthcare situations is very important, but impossible usually without a certification. So our students can start working in a healthcare environment as early as 16 years of age with a CNA certification. Okay, whoever would like to start with this answer, what is the greatest challenge of taking a Ranger U course?
Well, for me, I think it sort of changed over time. When I was a freshman and I took AP Physics as my first really challenging class, it was a lot of a learning curve to learn how to study, learn how to prepare for tests, learn how to take that initiative and go beyond just what we learn in class and actually go through books, go through other things. But I sort of learned that skill, and moving into things like calculus and EMT, just the academic rigor was a very nice challenge to have, but still a challenge nonetheless.
I think the biggest challenge for me was just the amount of homework and the level of content I was going through, because you go through a lot more content than in an average class. So you do get homework and there's a lot of it, but if you put in the work, you'll get a lot of stuff out of it.
What is a lot? Do you mind defining? What would you say?
That depends on the class, but like you'll probably have homework every night. Not necessarily an hour or two every night, but you will probably end up having homework every night.
Sure. I think the greatest challenge, honestly, I agree with Megan a lot here because the workload all depends on the AP class you're taking. I mean, I've had classes where it's like ridiculous amounts or it's just 30 minutes. Like AP Psych, I barely get any, but the coursework in itself in class is much more difficult. But you have so many people around you to help, which is the nice thing. So I feel like a lot of the times I end up going home with no homework because I was able to get the help from everybody else who understood. So that was always nice.
How have you utilized teachers and classmates and maybe other resources for support in your Ranger U classes? You've already kind of started to answer this a bit, but if you could.
So, if only Mitchell was here. I was in AP Language and I have a story about him. I completely forgot about a test that was coming up and he sent me a Quizlet that he had made himself and I was able to get 22 out of 21 on the test. So it's definitely helpful. Extra credit is definitely helpful to have other people who might be more engaged at the time or if you're busy at the time and you could use a little bit extra help. And we also have a lot of tutors and tutoring sessions too as well. So there's a lot of resources.
If only Mitchell were here, because when she told that story last week, he looked at her and was like, what did he say he got? He's like, I got like 19 on it. So he's like, I made the Quizlet. But thank you, Brooke.
I will say that all of the experiences I've had with teachers, they're all super supportive. They're always ready to and willing to help you. They know that it can be difficult at times and they're always willing to lend in a hand if you ask them. So make sure if you do need help, you do ask because they don't always know when you need that. Also, you have access to Google. If you need help, that's always an option to help figure if you don't have friends or teachers at the moment that can help you. Use your resources.
I do want to call out here specifically, it was alluded to, I don't think there's any question that in the Ranger U courses, students' efforts to form groups and communicate with each other just organically occurs a whole lot more than in your typical English 10 class or biology class, where maybe you happen to have some friends in that class and it happens. This is more built in. Teachers are aware of what's worked for students. So I do think that's another benefit here is the intentional effort of students, regardless of if they're friends or not, they're peers in that class, and so they work together for tests, projects, exams, etc.
Yeah, similar to what Mr. Cabot said, in every AP or concurrent enrollment class I've ever taken, there's been some sort of group chat on Snapchat or on text or on Instagram or whatever platform we ended up using where we would talk quite a bit about the class, upcoming deadlines, things we were having difficulty studying, things we were maybe enjoying studying and looking more into. So I think the classmates were a big resource, but also the teachers that are teaching these classes are really the cream of the crop. They're like the highest tier teachers that this school has to offer. And having their very dedicated support is really nice. I struggled a little bit in AP Calculus, and Miss Marshall, who's another AP Calculus teacher, but not my specific AP Calculus teacher, stayed after quite frequently until 4 or 5 o'clock, which she is not required to do, and she just went above and beyond helping every student who needed it, including myself. So that was really nice.
Yeah, I have to say that my office is in the media center and I just get such a big smile on my face when I'll walk in the mornings, 7:15, and there's a group huddled around the whiteboard doing calc all together. And I'm just like, wow, look at that. Or I heard plenty of stories during distance learning where they would have standing Google Meets with one another to just check in and help one another and work through whatever was on hand for the day. Would you mind starting, Hugh? You already mentioned what certifications you've earned so far, EMR, and you're working on your EMT. How does that certification impact you?
Yeah, so I have an EMR and I'm working on my EMT. So this gives me a great opportunity to work in the healthcare field as a 17-year-old and work in it through college as I'm preparing for medical school. And that's really nice. And also, sort of a side benefit, but also a benefit nonetheless, is that, again, you can make EMTs make $22 an hour with a company called Save Life Minnesota, where you go to various sports and music and other such events, and you get hands-on experience in a very flexible but very stable manner, and it's really cool.
Brooke, do you want to add anything about your certifications and how they'll impact you?
Well, the business essential certification is a big one that I'll be receiving at the end of this year. Also within that, the chance to earn IC3 and, like I said, the Microsoft Office definitely is helpful. And outside of the AP classes, there is an option called Career Launch, which allows you to own an OSHA certification for job safety, which is really nice, and it has the extra little subjects that you might be into, and afterwards you can go on to a paid internship. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, Brooke is referring to our series of 2 classes, Career Launch Explore and Experience. You have to be somebody who is specializing in a pathway to take Career Launch Explore. So because of Brooke's business classes that she had taken, she was able to take Career Launch Explore, where she earned that OSHA 10 safety credential, took a deeper career dive, developed her resume, interviewing skills, and then now during 4th quarter, she will be placed hopefully in an internship, a paid internship where she'll be released from school early, earn high school credit, learn valuable new skills, and of course get paid, which is pretty nice. We call it our bypass lane because we have access through our relationships and partnerships with businesses that high schoolers would not be able to access without utilizing our school's relationships. So it's a pretty nice opportunity, and the experience is available regardless of your pathway of interest. We have partnerships with industry in almost every career sector. What is one thing you wish you had considered or known about Ranger U or certification courses?
I wish that I knew how difficult it was going to be starting out. Like with my first ever AP class I've ever taken, I believe it was the one through Pine Tech, but an actual AP class, I just dove right into AP Psych, and it killed me at first, and I'm just now starting to get the hang of it, so definitely just be expecting the difficulty, because I was not going into it, and just be ready for it.
I think one thing I wish I had known is just the amount of options that I had, because I didn't even know that a lot of the certifications that we have here existed, so I feel like that would have been nice to know for especially coming in 9th and 10th grade before I had to figure out my entire schedule.
Use good. Yeah, I would say that I often meet with students who express that same thought, that they wish they had known what all existed here. So taking time with our career pathways guide and really understanding the course selection based on your pathway of interest would be well worth your time. I always hate the scenario where I'm sitting down with a senior who tells me they're interested in engineering, and I ask if they've taken our series of engineering classes, and they're like, what? We have engineering classes here? And I'm like, yeah, we have 4 engineering classes. So definitely understanding those opportunities early on will benefit you.
So we have a little time here. Was there another question for the students, or?
I was just looking, it just kind of froze up on me. But no, I think your questions.
Yeah,
right
we've
now.
got a little time here, so there is space for questions that you all might have for our students or for Ms. Bonnet or myself. So anything that comes to mind that you want to shout out before we close up?
So if that website is hard to navigate to see where it correlates to the college that they might be going to, you might have explained it at the very beginning, but is there a career or a college placement person within the school that would help you decide what courses?
Yeah, so once you have decided which school that you would like to attend, you will be assigned an advisor that will sit down and help you with that initial course selection and subsequent course selection process. They often will, when you're going through the admission process, I hear admission counselors all the time refer families to transferology, so they're using that same reference for families. But once you're sitting down with that advisor, they have your AP test scores, they have your other transcripts, and they're able to navigate how it is fulfilling the credit that they're requiring at their school. That being said, it's important to do your own research before that appointment. I know I sat in on that visit. My son is a freshman in college right now, and I sat kind of off to the side because it was online, and we had created a list of classes that would have fulfilled his requirements and met his areas of interest for the major he was thinking of, and she had a very different list. So they're not going to be necessarily as invested as you are in your own future. So have some ideas going in. Other questions?
I have a quick question. So we've all registered now. Is there an opportunity to adjust that schedule after we've registered?
For sure. Honestly, all the way into the summer, we're open to ongoing conversations about at least attempting to create the schedule that's best for your student. So our deans are here all year, and then Ms. Stratton and myself work all summer and are available to have those ongoing conversations. We'll set the initial schedule here over the next few weeks, but we are absolutely able to revisit.
Perfect, thanks.
And frankly, through the school year as well. I mean, it happens that I'll meet with a student who thought that they were all about health science and then maybe took a class and decided that is not for me, which is frankly incredibly valuable to understand as a high schooler versus your third year of college. And maybe they've decided, you know what, I'm really excited about the idea of teaching. So they're ready for the class that's going to help them with that, and we'll try to accommodate and make that change mid-year.
Any other questions?
What percentage of kids here that take the AP tests are getting qualifying scores in 3, 4s, or 5s?
It varies by class. I have to say though, we have very high scores here. We are typically above the national average almost across the board in all of the courses that we offer. I won't pretend to be able to quote it off the top of my head for each subject area, but our students are very successful on the AP exams, and that was true in the online models during COVID, and it was true when we were back in person with the paper tests last year.
Does this hurt them in any way if they don't get a 3, 4, or 5, but the college I've seen they've taken an AP class, does that hurt them at all?
So if they're less than a 3, they won't earn the college credit. However, I'm a former AP teacher myself. I taught English language and composition. And even my students who earned a 2 that were disappointed because they didn't get that 3, they then breezed through their 100 level freshman composition course because of the level of rigor that they had experienced in high school. And then they did better when it didn't come down to one test on one day. So there is still the advantage, even if you don't take the test or you don't pass it, from that year-long rigorous experience in that particular subject area.
I always share with students, now granted this was a long time ago, but I went to what was called a college prep high school, and I took a lot of AP classes, and none of us took any of the tests. It was not part of the culture. The culture was that you took the class for the rigor, not for the credit. And so it was very valued by colleges to see that those AP courses were accomplished on the transcript. And still is valued.
And do you pay for the exam right to that college, or is it just the school?
You pay the school to take the exam, and then we submit all those payments to the College Board who provides the AP exams.
It's like $100.
They're $85 a piece, and we do have a sliding scale based on financial need. So I want to make 2 points here in closing. One, I do want to circle back around. You heard the students mention, I mentioned it. There is that initial moment, your first time in a Ranger U course, where you're going to hit a wall and you're going to feel like you made a mistake and you're going to feel like you're in over your head. And just remember, these students pushed through that initial wall and are sitting here now, and your student will too. So parents, be sympathetic, be a shoulder to cry on, but don't jump right to your email to tell the dean to drop the class. Have them stick with it through that first semester, because students do push through that wall all the time. Second, it's a great sign that you're here, because even though we have tremendous resources here, our Ranger Connect teachers, Ms. Vonette in her role, our deans of students, no single one of them is going to be fully able to guide your student through their high school experience the way you can if you take ownership of it right away. So you're not going to miss out on opportunities because you're diving into the career pathway guide, you're reading all of Mr. Caldwell's emails, you're reading Ms. Bonnet's newsletters. You take ownership of what you want to accomplish, and your student might be sitting up here someday, but certainly they'll be pursuing what they want to after high school. We'll stick around for a little bit here ahead of the next panel. Thank you so much for coming, and can we wrap up with a round of applause for our
Before we
students?
do that,
We'll do
I was going to mention that if you are interested in staying, our next information session is for students and families who are potentially interested in applying to highly selective schools. So the application process and the process for preparation, 9th through 12th grade, is a little bit different. So if you would like to stick around, I will be joined by an admissions counselor from Carleton College. Otherwise, without a doubt, our students deserve a wonderful round of applause for joining us. Thank you so much
Thanks,
for being
everyone.
here.